Hey everybody, we are ready to learn now how to use the square root property to solve a quadratic equation. Just like factoring had 3 steps, so is the square root property. To solve a quadratic equation using the square root property, you have 3 steps, and they're different from the 3 steps we followed to factor. Remember, to factor, we had to set the quadratic equation equal to 0, then we had to factor using one of our 4 rules, and then we had our 2 linear equations set equal to 0 and solve. To do the square root property to solve a quadratic equation, here are your 3 steps. Step 1 says isolate the term that is squared. We need to get the term that has that exponent of 2 isolated on the left side, and that means we need to move all our constants, all our numbers over to the right side. So when we do the square root property, we do not want our equation equal to 0. We want on the left side the squared term, and on the right side our numbers are constants. Once we do that, then step 2 makes sense. To get rid of a square, we're going to square root both sides because we got to keep balance. So we're going to square root the left side, square root the right side. Step 3 would then be to simplify and solve. What's going to happen on the left side is the square and the square root are inverse operations, so we know they're going to cancel out, and that's going to leave us our variable, our expression with x. On the right side, we're going to have a square root of a number, a constant. Now remember, with quadratic equations, we have to have how many solutions? That's right, we need 2 solutions. So to get 2 solutions on the right side, we're going to have to put the symbol plus or minus in front of that square root. So anytime we do the square root property, when we put that square root on the right side with our number, our constant, we put a plus or minus in front of the square root symbol. Now, if it happens inside the square root symbol, we have a number we could reduce, simplify, we need to do that. So let's look at our PowerPoint, our example. We have the equation x squared minus 8 equals 0. We know it's an equation, it has an equal sign. We know it's quadratic, it has an x squared. It's already set equal to 0, which is screaming out to me, factor it. Well, let's think, guys. Can you use one of your rules of factoring for x squared minus 8? Is it a GCF? No. Is it difference of perfect squares? No. Even though it has the difference sign, and x squared is a perfect square, 8 is not. So we can't use that rule. There's not 3 terms, it's not a trinomial, it's not 4 terms, it's not grouping. So the problem with this quadratic equation is you can't use your skills of factoring to solve it. That doesn't mean it can't be solved. You have to use another method, and that's what we're here today. If you get a quadratic equation and you can't apply your rules of factoring, then the next thing you think about is doing the square root method. So we're ready to do the square root method. Step 1 says isolate the term that is squared. Well, that means we need to get the x squared by itself. So to move the negative 8, we're going to do the inverse operation. We're going to add 8 to both sides. So now we got x squared equals 8. So our term is isolated. Our term that's squared is isolated. Now this makes sense. To get rid of a square, you do the opposite inverse operation. You square root both sides. So if you look, I put a square root on the left side, I put a square root symbol on the right side. When I put that square root symbol on the right side, because we're doing a quadratic equation, we're solving a quadratic equation, we must have 2 solutions. That's why we put the plus or minus. On the left side, we're going to simplify. What is the square root of x squared? Well, we know that. That's x. On the right side, we have plus or minus. Now, can you leave me the square root of 8? No, you have to simplify that. The biggest perfect square in 8 is 4. So 8 is 4 and 2. Now we're going to square root 4, so a 2 is going to come out, become a whole number. And the other 2 we cannot square root, it stays inside. So we have our 2 solutions. X equals plus or minus 2 square roots of 2. Or you could write x equals 2 square roots of 2, comma, negative 2 square roots of 2. There are 2 solutions to this quadratic equation. All right, let's go to the whiteboard.